Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about this Satine Phoenix tattoo controversy, and we're going to talk about money, and what the Satine Phoenix tattoo controversy is really all about. This is part of a playlist. If you want full context, watch this in the playlist. If you've been watching my channel all along, you'll get the context, but if you're not fully aware of the Satine Phoenix tattoo controversy, you can find all the details right here in the playlist, and you'll get full context for this video. All right, let's go. All right, so I'm incredibly blessed to have really smart commenters. One of them is DM's Bloodworth, and I asked very, sincerely and genuinely, what is this Satine Phoenix controversy about, right? Because I think there's a lot here, and I think there's a lot to unpack, and I think there's a lot of lessons, very important lessons, to learn about Dungeons & Dragons as we look at the Satine Phoenix tattoo controversy. So DM Bloodworth is like, this is all about money. And I've had other commenters too, they're all like, this is about money. Satine Phoenix wants her content to get, to make money and be successful. This is always about money, Scott. You just need to follow the money, right? And I'm telling you, DM Bloodworth is a brilliant guy. He has a great channel. You should check it out. It's Unscripted Unchained Reviews. But I disagree with him on almost everything, but I disagree with smart people. That's okay. It's called a rival. So basically, but it's a very shallow take to think that anything in the tabletop role-playing game industry, anything connected to Dungeons & Dragons, is about money. It is not. And if you think Dungeons & Dragons is about money, and if you think tabletop role-playing game industry is about money, boy, are you wrong. You could not be more wrong. You are so wrong. You are a wrong sandwich with wrong sauce and layers of wrong cheese. Nothing in the Dungeons & Dragons world, nothing in the tabletop role-playing game world is about money. Ever. Okay? I'm going to tell you why. Okay? So first of all, I get it. Like, this is the deep end of the pool. Okay? And a lot of people think, oh, everything's about money, Scott. No, you're so wrong. The world today is about celebrity. Right? That is the most powerful thing in the world, because with celebrity, you can do things you cannot purchase. Right? And D&D is part of this. Celebrities are attached to Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons can make celebrities. I'll tell you right now, Matthew Mercer, right? That guy has put a rocket booster of celebrity on his butt using Dungeons & Dragons, right? And I'll tell you right now, I don't think any voice actor in the world would trade places with Matthew Mercer. Maybe Tara Strong, maybe, right? Tara Strong's probably a bigger star, but the reality is when you talk, like, he was just a bog standard voice actor, which is like the lowest tier in Hollywood, right? But now, he can walk into Amazon and they will listen to a pitch from him. Dungeons & Dragons and nothing else did that. It is not about money. Here's the other kicker, right? The biggest thing, though, the biggest thing that's happening with Dungeons & Dragons is, and with all tabletop role-playing games, and by the way, look at where, and this is very true, look where Mercer makes his money. It's in streaming. He's not making his money from selling tabletop role-playing game products, and this is why he never makes a competitor to Dungeons & Dragons. And so Dungeons & Dragons, okay, is a absolutely horrifically bad business model. It sells crusty old physical books. They just spent $145 million to get to. They spent Wizards of the Coast spent $145 million to get Wikipedia and some dice. Like, that is a bad. All tabletop role playing games are an absolutely horrific business model, right? No one goes into tabletop role-playing games to make money. And the reason why is, in order to make any money in the tabletop role-playing game world, you need to be charismatic, intelligent, and confident. And this world will take that same person, whoever's working in the tabletop role-playing game industry, and they will put them in pharma, they will put them in almost like into law, they'll put them into any other industry, and they'll make double or triple whatever they can make in the tabletop role-playing game industry, okay? Anybody smart enough, charismatic enough, confident enough to make tabletop role-playing games can make more money in almost any actual real industry. And get this, tabletop role-playing games are not a real industry. They are a passion industry, right? They are a hobby industry, right? And get this, the flagship of the entire tabletop role-playing game industry is Dungeons & Dragons, which is held as a cute bauble by WotC, who has Magic the Gathering, who outperforms it monetarily every single year by double or triple in profits. Almost guaranteed. Okay? Last count, Wizards of the Coast made about they made $1 billion last year, right? I would be shocked if even $300 million of that came from Dungeons & Dragons. Magic the Gathering easily outpaces Dungeons & Dragons for profit. And the reason why is, here's a horrible, horrible thing. I never do this. I don't do this, but I know people who do. Dungeons & Dragons spends probably $250,000, $1 million to make each book, right? The second it's done, the second they put it on a single shelf, somebody's got that thing snapped up and it's a PDF that anybody can download, right? And I've been at tables, not my current table. I've been at tables where everybody's got an illegal PDF, and I'm like, and I look, I clutch my books to my chest. I'm like, that is a damn shame. Like, that is not good, right? But the reality is, tabletop role-playing game is an absolutely terrible, terrible, terrible business model. Everyone in tabletop role-playing games is there because they honor the legacy of Gary Gygax, and there's a lot of people who are there for that, or they don't know the legacy of Gary Gygax, and they just love one or two aspects of what Gary delivered that they don't even know that Gary delivered. They like dragons or sword fighting or sci-fi or whatever their corner of the tabletop role-playing game industry. They're passionate about it and they love it, right? And the reality is, this is one of the reasons why I don't work in the tabletop role-playing game. I love it. It's the number 4 thing in my life that I love the most, right? Is Dungeons & Dragons. But the reality is, I would never work in that industry because I got mouths to feed, man. And it is a terrible, terrible, terrible business model. And if you think I'm wrong, just realize there is no one, right, who has not worked for Dungeons & Dragons, right, who has made millions. There are no millionaires in the tabletop role-playing game industry that have created tabletop role-playing games. None. Point to any creator who has ever created a tabletop role-playing game, an actual book that got printed, got on a shelf. They are not a millionaire. I guarantee you. There are no millionaire TTRPG creators. Any other industry, there's tons of millionaires, right? But in tabletop role-playing games, it doesn't exist. Gary was a millionaire at one point, but even that went south, man. And I don't think he he did. I knew him. I saw what he wore to Gen Con in 2004. That dude was not a millionaire. Like, I can tell you that right now, right? Like, it's never, ever, ever about the money in tabletop role-playing games. So this idea that Satine Phoenix did any of this to attract, attention to her products is just not true, right? Satine Phoenix absolutely loves Dungeons & Dragons. She's a huge Gary Gygax fan. She went to his house. She is in the game to honor Gary. She's as OSR gets, right? And so the reality is, Satine Phoenix got in this complete, horrible, weird mess, right? Because she loves Dungeons & Dragons, she's in the mix, and she's trying to honor Gary's legacy, right? And along the way, I think she made the mistake of marrying Jameson. Well, you know what? I don't think that's a mistake. I think those two genuinely love each other, and I think they're going to come out of this trial stronger. But the reality is, absolutely none of this was about money. In the tabletop role-playing game, the smart ones like Satine Phoenix, it's always, always, always about Gary, or it's people who are ignorant of what Gary delivered, who are just honing in on one attribute of what Gary Gygax delivered. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.